I do think that Beyond Belief is the one that spoke to me the most strongly, because a lot of what I do, poor people's movements, gender politics, cross-national politics, has to do with the flows of money. And of course, this film was about a group of women in New York who were affected by 9/11 in a very personal way, and took it personally to produce results elsewhere. And that's an interesting impulse. I've got a lot to say about that. And one of the things I'd like us to pay attention to, this is not a good thing or a bad thing, but the role of social class, the role of the ability to travel, the ability to produce money to solve problems in other places. This is a really uniquely modern thing to see. And of course it's going to have different effects. I mean, now these women go having produced, I have no idea how much money, $100,000, I have no idea how much money these women have produced to give chickens to Afghan women. And they go to the place where their chickens are now living. It's an interesting interaction, and we see a lot of intensely personal interaction produced because of the social class of both the donors and the donees. I mean, the social class of the donees affects them probably about as much as their gender in this instance. In a lot of the films we saw gender being highlighted. But Kimberly Crenshaw talks to us about the concept of intersectionality, where there is no one defining characteristic of a person. It matters that I'm a woman. It matters that I'm a professor. It matters that I'm middle class. It matters that I grew up poor. You know, these women, it matters that they're poor. It matters that they're women. Both of these things matter. And so think about the role of social class in a lot of the films that we've been looking at, and how social class for some women has been a liberating phenomenon, like in Half Value Life. And then in other films like Beyond Belief, we see social class interacting in a very complex way. One of the things I spend a lot of time thinking about is what Macau Muchua calls the savage victim and savior dynamic, where we end up positioning people as victims so that we ourselves in our brains become the saviors, and there is a perfect savage out there someplace, a really ugly savage that is victimizing. And in many of these films we saw a perfect savage emerging. You know, the man taking the sunglasses, the man abandoning his maimed wife, who then overcomes, right? But in Beyond Belief, we didn't see the savage in the same way, and that's one of the things I found really intriguing about this film. It's difficult to make a film about a savage, but there was a victim and a savior. I've got a lot more to say, but I'm going to stop.